A very warm welcome, everyone. Welcome to CRF2 round 3 for the British Grand Prix. My name is Fridge. It's not posted today. He's not here for now. He might join in later, but I will be subbing in for him for now. A solid lineup here today. 15 drivers line up to the grid today. And it's interesting to see who will do well today. A few new drivers and a few known names. I believe Parker had a good result last week around, and I will hope to see more from him. Wavy Knife, I think, drove yesterday as well, just like Shanghai. In Tier 3, they did alright over there, and we'll want to continue that success here today. It's gonna be a good stream today. I'm expecting some nice driving, some good competition, but it's all on the drivers to show us some good driving and some fast driving, hopefully, as well. Yesterday, I think the times were in the low 26s for quali, although I think some drivers had the potential to go into 25s. I'm expecting some 25s today. I would be disappointed if we don't see any at all. That's a little bit of a graphical glitch there already. So I'm not very sure who to expect most from here today. I know a few of these drivers. I know that Barker is very fast. Sorobub has had some good drives. Lewis, I think his second race here in Tier 2 after being a reserve. So interesting to see how he will do for Ferrari today. Both Ferrari drivers here today. So hopefully a good result for them in the constructor standings. As we see most people on their out lap already, starting an early lap for some good results, hopefully. As I'm trying to find a little bit of stats. There you go. Alright. As we already have a yellow flag, probably just some people giving some space. And yeah, I think it's just a short quali, just like yesterday. And it is a dry session once again. Expect a little bit more rain, but I guess it's just going to stay dry this session, just like it did last week on board here with Jamboy. And his first lap of the day. Let's see what he can do already. Starting his first lap early in the session, probably just a banker for now, with the track improving over time as we see the first sectors coming in, and it seems that a few people are staying in for a longer time. They might just skip this first run as the track is still pretty green and will improve over time. And hopefully we'll see some decent lap times already at the start. That will be pretty exciting, as the first person over the line is going to be Jamboy 20.080 around the final corner, and he starts off with a 26.3. A very solid first lap. Sorobub just behind 26.5. And that is already close to the final lap times we saw yesterday, although Posted, I think, had the opportunity to go into the high 25s. Burgertown slightly behind here on a 27.1 for now, but these are all still bankers. It doesn't really matter, although if someone goes into the 25s this early, it does show a good amount of pace for later on. Seems that a good two last sectors for the Mercedes driver secured him the fastest lap, and I say that as Lewis takes the fastest lap in 1:26.107. A very decent lap by him, especially for the first lap of the day, and that will see him comfortably in P1 for now, although some of the big boy names still out there on the track, just like Parker, who I'm expecting to do a solid 25 here, even in his first lap, as Another Red Bull comes over the line, a 37.6. He probably had a little bit of a spin somewhere, somehow, as the first few lap times are coming in now. We already see somewhat what we can expect today, and that is low 26 already in the first few laps, showing that we definitely will go into the mid 25s. And tomorrow, obviously, with the tier 1, it's going to be interesting to see if anyone has the pace to go into the 24s at some point. And then I'm looking at you, Jack, if you're listening, as we are still on board. Let's see. Subby, is that subtitled? I'm guessing so. I don't know many of the in-game drivers' names. I'm gonna just assume that this is subtitled. Thought he was a tier 1 driver, but I'm sure some people will know. Wimpy Nick takes the fast lap, 1:25.9, the first person this week, I believe, to go into the 25s. That is nice to see, and a solid lap by the Williams driver. That's a good start by him. And now subtitled needs to find some time, as there's a yellow flag. That's just someone going slowly to give some space to the McLaren driver, who is just started his lap, Harry, just in the end of the first sector. On board still with subtitled. What can he do here through Meckett's and Beckett's? Seemingly hitting the apexes properly. A little bit wide there, but takes a lot of speed with him onto Hangar Straight. And with just 3 more corners to go, I'm expecting a good lap from him. If the sector times tell us all of the story, it does seem he's somewhat on the pace of a low 26 if he doesn't lose any time in the last sector. Looks pretty clean for me, maybe a little bit deep as we go around the final corner, and he finishes his lap a little bit wide through the final corner, and that does cost him a 1:26.5. Not the worst, not the best. Nicely into the midfield, or I guess slightly up into the midfield by him. Not a bad lap from him indeed, as we try to look around for some drivers still on a lap. I think the McLaren driver is around the final corner, and he sets a 26.3. Puts him just outside of the top 3, only 4/10 away from pole position at the current moment. And is anyone else on a lap? There's a Williams driver who has aborted, and so it seems like everything dies down a bit once more. Anyone else on a lap? It doesn't seem like anyone is for now. And so we have our top 12. Parker still not on a lap. That is surprising. Expected him to set an early lap time, but he has abandoned his lap, an 83%. Probably started his lap and didn't quite like what he had started, and so just took an extra warm-up lap, had the fuel, has the pace, and he knows that he can fight for the top step here as he starts his lap, not with full energy. Let's see if he has enough to set a competitive lap time here as he starts his lap around one of the most magnificent tracks on the calendar, according to many. One of the most popular tracks at the very least, as we go through the first few corners, looking pretty clean. Nice apex there, and can he get on the power early? Seems like he does pretty well through there. And now it is all about what his first sector time is. Is he on the pace? The answer seems like it's yes, he is. A little bit over a 10th off for now on the fastest first sector, set by Harry, who does go to a 26.3 himself. And the question is whether or not he can find that time back. I'm expecting good things from Parker here, but maybe that's a bit much pressure on someone I've seen drive twice. So it might be a little bit unfair by me as we go through Mex and Beckett's beautiful set of corners here. Apexes hit nicely on the power early. Back onto the main straight. 1:03 seems like a decent-ish second sector total time. A little bit off the pace so far, and a little bit wide there. Means that this is not the perfect lap that he might want, but again, we have 8 more minutes. There's more than enough time, and the track will ramp up as we go around the final corner, and he sets a 1:26.7. Not quite the lap that he would want, but it is P8. It is within the points, and that might be enough for him at the current moment. He probably will want to improve on that later. on board now with Wavy through his second sector. He is 3/10 up on his own lap. Wavy, it had already a decent lap of 26.6. So the question is if this will be enough. It will probably set him around P3 unless he finds more time in the final sector. Nice final few corners as he does get on the power early around the final corner. What can he do here? Can he attempt P1? He cannot find it. It is P3 though, a good result from him. Nice little bit of improvement for him at least. And is anyone else currently on a lap? A few yellow flags here and there, just people trying to give each other space. And not a lot happening in the back. Doesn't seem like anyone is on the lap now as far as I can see, as we do see here Durgo's Vap starting his lap with a 27.2. Not the lap that he would have wanted to see first time around, but surely not the worst, as Lewis just jumps to a 25.8. Now those are the lap times that we want to see. With 7 more minutes, he definitely has some time to go back into the pits and improve even further. And from knowing his lap times around this track, I know he is very consistently around that 26.0 lap time. Seeing him go into the 25 solidly by 2/10 is a good sight to see, especially because it's not yet when the track has ramped fully. Durgo's Vap first sector very clean, and he's already a few tenths up, and with a time that is 1.4 seconds off the pace, he probably would want to see that. Let's just put it on this instead so we can see the gaps. He is 1.3 seconds off at the current moment, but he's improving. And the question is if it is going to be enough to fight for the top places. Beckett's beautifully taken, although the camera didn't quite follow the way. 6/10 up now on his own lap. That's good to see. Someone standing still at the end of the first sector, just giving some space to the AlphaTauri driver. Very clean driving so far. Not much blocking going on as far as we can see from my point of view. As for the final few corners, we go with the Aston Martin, trying to secure a good final sector of what has been a pretty clean lap, as he finishes here in P7, 126.4. Definitely a good improvement. 7 more tenths next time around would give him pole position. So, you know, steady progress for him as we try to find someone else on a good lap, as the Game Master 17 in P12 just starts his lap. And NASCAR is on a lap, but he's 7/10 down. Connor is slightly up, but not enough. Wimpy Nick has improved, but not enough either. And so, is anyone improving enough, as the Mercedes is starting his lap? Jamboy 4/10 off pole position at the current moment with 7 more minutes to go. Make that 5 actually. Time goes faster than I imagined. As he starts his lap cleanly through the first corner. It is all flat out, braking late at 17 meters or thereabouts. And then on the throttle early into 3. Goes all the way down to first gear. That's an interesting take on that corner. I haven't seen that before, but might be fast for a little bit more rotation, a little bit more acceleration. And let's see if it gave him a little bit more speed. The answer is yes, 11 thousandths up on his own time. But, you know, any bit can help as we go around one of the most tricky corners of the track. Getting on the power early without spinning is very tough to do, as now we go into Cops, which is flat out here in qualifying. And it might be in the race with a downshift, but a little bit of a lift probably is needed. And then the iconic corner, it's Beckett's. Into the hanger straight. He goes a 10th down now on his time. Not the best second sector for him. Needs to find a little bit more time as Wavy Knife retires. I'm not sure if he crashed or he just retired with no more tires left, as Jamboy has aborted his lap. That's unfortunate to see. Harry just started his lap, just finished his first sector, 700ths down on his own time. And hopefully for him can find some improvement. A little bit of a wiggle there, and already down this time will not be what he wanted to see, but maybe he can carry a little bit more speed through Cops. A little bit of a better line, better turn-in point. Does hit the apex decently, but extends a little bit. I'm not sure if in Tier 2 it is on strict corner cutting. That might just be an invalidated lap, and it looks like he has slowed down significantly. Yeah, that is a invalidated lap, and he has given up after just going a little bit too wide out of Cop's corner. It is a tricky turn to get right as that. I wish I hadn't seen that, because that might be an invalid way of joining the pit entry. I'm not sure if anyone wants to bother reporting something like small as that, though. The Game Master deciding very late to go into the pits, or almost missing the pits rather. On board now with Burger Town, 7/10 down on his lap time, not what he wants to see. On board now with Parker instead, who down in P12, not what I expected as rain. Did I just see rain, or is that a bug? It has started to rain here in Silverstone, and no wonder people are not improving. It is currently raining here in Silverstone, and that means that this might just be your grid of the third round of CRF2. This will probably be your grid, and that means Lewis, first time full-time seat driver in Tier 2, his debut as a non-reserve will be from the top step. What a story that is. And all the way down in P12, Parker, one of the people I had written down to be one of the favorites today. Surprising to see that he is down where he is. As I'm just looking around to see what is going on. Is the race going to be rainy as well? That is a important question to ask ourselves, as we're on board with NASCAR fan who is retired. Everyone seems to have retired except for Solid Hades. Everyone else in the pits or retired at this point in time. Hades thinking a little bit of wet weather practice on the dries can't hurt. And I fully support this. This is what we want to see. There will be some Tokyo drifting here in Cops. Will he lift? Will he try to stick his throttle down? He definitely lifts. He brakes a little bit as well. Still makes the corner properly. Into Meckets and Beckets we go. And can he keep it pointing in the right direction? It seems like he can. It looks pretty stable. Clean driving from Hades here. Into the final sector, we will go 22 seconds down on his own time. Stays in 7th gear. Doesn't seem to want to find any time, knowing that there is no point with rain falling down as heavily as it is. And with 11 seconds to go in the session, I'm expecting this to be the end. And with him going into the pits, this will be the end of the session, meaning this is our grid. Lewis takes pole position in Tier 2. Wonderful to see for the Ferrari debut. And alongside with him, we will see Wimpy Nick, Wavy Knife in P3, who had a mediocre-ish race for his standards probably in Tier 3 yesterday. Shanghai P4, he will be very delighted with that result. Very good result by him, maybe a little bit slower than he can do. Harry P6, very good result. There goes Fab. I'm guessing still that's subtitled, but I'm not sure if that's his. Maybe it's just Subby. I'll just call him Subby, just to be safe. Subby in P8, the Game Master in P9, and Sorbub finishes the top 10. A DNF for Burger Town means that he was on P11 with no tires. That looked a bit weird. The real question now. What will the weather condition be here in Silverstone? Oh. It looks like it's just going to be dry. Little bit unfortunate. I would have wanted to see I would have wanted to see some rain, to be honest. I think that would have been really cool. But yeah, obviously the drivers will be somewhat happy that their setups are proper for the session. Probably they could have seen the weather report, whereas I cannot see that from where I am as just a spectator. And now we're just waiting as we see the lineup and we start the formation lap. Let's quickly have a gander, if I can. Have a gander at the tires that everyone has taken. And interestingly, everyone has started mediums. Subby starts on softs. And Lewis sticks to his guns and says, I'm starting on the hards and doing what I think is best here. If there's no rain, I think that the hards are the call here. If this is a 50% race, I think hard medium is the fastest strategy. And maybe it helps Lewis a bit that a lot of medium runners are behind him. Because I think in the end, if he can keep up with a little group of medium runners on the DRS, he basically gets all the pace of the mediums with the tire wear of the hards, and then he just has a solid medium stint near the end of the race. But he does leave himself exposed to an early safety car. Then he will have to go medium or just stay out. So some strategic discrepancies, let's say, between the drivers. I think most people have decided that the mediums is the most consistent tire to start on. Early safety car means you can just run hards and get to the end of the race. And even if it doesn't happen, you can just go hards afterwards. Subby going softs may mean that he just wants to put a little bit more pace, a little bit more pressure early on the group ahead. Expected maybe Parker to do the same. I expected Parker to go either hards or softs, because in my head he is still one of the faster drivers. I would expect him to get through the field pretty easily, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is not the case. As NASCAR fan gets disqualified, he does not position himself properly on the grid. It seems like Lewis, P1, 2, and 3 have done a great job, but enough about that. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Silverstone, and it's lights out. Lights out, and away we go for the Silverstone Grand Prix, and it looks like it's a good start from the Ferrari driver on the outside. Wimpy Nick doesn't have the greatest getaway, and the hard compound seems to be great, and it's a huge pile-up behind George Maycock is out, together with Burgertown, Hades, and Sorbab. A huge collision in the background and an instant red flag. A huge collision behind. It looked like the McLaren had it all wrong, span around and caused a massive pileup behind. I'm not sure what the idea is now from the league if we continue with the red flag with the 4 retirees it is, or if we are just continuing from this point, or if we fully restart the session. I will have to be informed about that. But a huge pileup into turn 1, a corner you don't really brake for. Didn't expect a big pileup there. Since, yeah, if you don't really brake, how can you have such a big pileup? But seems like someone turned in on someone. It looked like the McLaren had it all wrong, out of turn 1. And once he lost his rear, everyone behind panics, stomps on the brake, and a huge pileup as a result. And now this is the first red flag I've seen in this game, which means we will have to experience together what will happen now. Is it a pit lane start? Is it just a restart? Freakiest left. And we are starting again. 4 lights and 5 lights. And we start a second time here in Silverstone. Wimpy Nick has a lot of penalties just thrown out for ignoring yellow flags, as we are on a red flag. That doesn't make any sense, but a great start here by Lewis. Still on his He's now on soft tires as a big brake problem there from the McLaren, hitting the Haas in front, but it doesn't seem to matter that much. He takes the inside anyway, and he takes the inside of Lewis immediately afterwards as well. I think that might be a controversial overtake as he did hit the Haas into turn 1, but he does take P1, and the Haas loses his left rear tire, left front tire even, and he is out of the race. What happened to Wavy Knife? No, it is Shanghai who loses his right front tire. A few penalties for severe collisions, and it's just penalties everywhere and safety cars everywhere, and we go from 16 drivers to 10 drivers in the span of less than 1 lap, although it says we're on lap 3. I don't know how that's possible. We've done less than a lap of driving, unless I fell asleep. As a huge pileup behind again, and it's Jamboy hitting the driver ahead, and now he loses his tires, and he's out of the session. Lewis DNFs, and I think we're just having a restart. I'm commentating a fucking restart. Because no one wanted to tell me. Alright, bet. Good luck and no restarts. And then there's a red flag. And then everyone just crashes themselves out. Alright, bet. We'll be right back, guys. Sorry for the inconvenience. I hope you enjoyed the crashes. We'll be right back to restart the lobby and see who will take the win here in Silverstone. One quick moment and we'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we are back into the lobby. A restart was necessary after a few bugs had occurred after the red flag. A few penalties were given out to people who didn't deserve them, and a few crashes happened because of some weird visual bugs, it seemed. I don't know about all that. All I know is we did restart in the end, and now here we are restarting, hopefully with the correct grid as well. I think that has all been sorted by the director, and now we are ready to restart in a dry Silverstone to try and have a carnage-less start. Tier 2. It should, there's some decently fast drivers here. I expect some decently fair driving as well. But as we have come to know and see, it is not always that easy. And so we'll have to wait and see if they can keep it clean, if they can keep it between the white lines and without contact, especially into turn 1. That looked like a huge crash that had many people out. I would want for most drivers to get out cleanly. I hope at least the leaders get out cleanly, because they worked hard here, had some good laps during quali, and now would want to convert that into a good result. Seeing them out into turn 1 is never what you want to see. Like Posted yesterday, for example, had a great qualifying and then had an unfortunate start, quickly fell down the ranks. But enough about that, as there's already 4 and 5 lights, and we are off and away we go here in Silverstone, as it seems like a great start for the Ferrari in P6 or 7, already down, already all the way up in P1. Subby, that cannot have been a legal start, but it seems like he's gotten away without a penalty, and the Mercedes already sent it on the inside of Lewis. Can he keep it around the outside? He can, as the Mercedes gets it all wrong, but he does keep it within the white lines. Gets pushed wide a little bit by the Haas, but he gets into P4 anyway. A little bit of a push by the Haas onto the Williams, as there's a big fight between them before P3 is a big spin in the background. It seems Shanghai has gone it all wrong. He's down in P15. And there goes Fab, already had a little bit of contact into turn 1 rather, and is down in last place. Unfortunate for those two drivers. They are definitely not very slow drivers. They're very fast even. So I hope to see a good comeback from them, as Lewis is just driving away into P1. And Subby, after a great start, has to defend against Harry into Cops, and a lot of people wide into Cops' corner. Can they keep it clean? Can they keep it within the lines, as we finally get sound back from the game? Harry back into P2. Subby losing a few positions into Cops, after Cops, here in to the hangar straight we go, and he loses a bunch of positions. A lot of drivers here together. Hopefully can they keep it clean? Looks like so far it is all clean into there. No more big crashes between them. Lewis leading by 2 seconds already on what it seems to be hard tires still. So that is a ideal start for him. 1:35.1, a great opening lap by him. 1.6 seconds loose of the first. Next driver, Subby, reconnected. That is interesting to see. I thought he was already here. Maybe the AI had a masterful start because of some lag issues or some sort, from P8 to P2 back to P7 now. Hopefully he can take control of his car. We've seen that issue before where they can't. Waving knife already into the pits. Lap 1 probably had some damage from the carnage of the first lap, but at least this time they all survive to see another lap, to see another day. And now the question is, can Lewis keep away the medium runners? This medium group will all DRS each other into success, as the Mercedes are getting very dicey here. Jamboy wants to get past the Game Master, already getting a penalty for track limits. That's not ideal for him, as the two Mercedes are already getting dicey here, as the Alpine of Parker already up in P4. I didn't even see that. It's a great first lap by him. The Game Master now shows his penalty next to him, as the Mercedes of Jamboy looks on the inside at the end of Hangar Straight and finishes the move very cleanly. And Harry tries to keep it around the outside, now tries to make it an inside. He takes a little bit of a look, a little bit of contact there, but they do get out. safely into the final corners of the track as a 29.9. They are slightly faster than Lewis, but it makes sense. He sends it up the inside in turn 1. Both Mercedes drivers leaving no space for each other. There's a constructors here, guys. This is not just you driving. There goes Fab on his soft tires. Makes sense that he sets the fast lap of the race. The Mercedes driver getting super dicey. These guys are teammates. They should leave each other alive, and it seems like no love lost between the two of them. Hopefully no Rosberg Hamilton moment here, and as I say that, he sends it from nowhere. Harry has no respect there, and he gets slapped in the face back by Jamboy, saying there was no gap there. A huge send, and it backfires immediately for Harry, finding himself all the way down into P6. Looks like that was all his own fault, but then again, maybe a little bit more space was required by Jamboy. That will definitely be investigated after the race if either of them thought that that was uncalled for. But in the end, it does seem Harry got the punishment that he deserved from my point of view. But the stewards will have a better look at that later on. Burger Town up in P5. He's having a decent start to his race as Parker doing what he does best. And that is, after mediocre qualifying, just running through with his amazing race pace, as he does get sent on by the Mercedes and has to leave him in front for now. Shanghai getting his first penalty of the race. And I'm expecting a few more to happen in total, as again the Alpine sends it on the inside of turn 1. The Mercedes is forced wide, but he sends it around the outside. The Alpine does keep it within the white lines, and a beautiful overtake by him. Parker just showing excellent race pace once again on his hard tires, by the way, and that means the hard tires now in P1 and P2. But as I say that, with ERS and DRS, Jamboy retakes P2. A beautiful fight between the two. Can Parker leave it around the outside? He just can't hang out there for now, but may just want to wait for the next DRS zone, as there's a yellow flag behind. A Ferrari is off, and that's Subby. After a great start, doesn't have a little bit more issue through the race, as he does have a big contact into... I don't even know what that corner is called. That's unlucky. Anyway, unfortunate for him. From P1 down to P14, and now he has retired from the race. I'm not sure you're allowed to do that on track. I believe that requires a penalty. The stewards will definitely have a look at that later. Parker around the outside here. It's a very tricky move. It's a ballsy move. It's a beautiful move from him. Can he cover the inside? He does leave the space again for the Mercedes to try something brave, but this time he hangs around the outside and keeps his position, and now holds on to P2. And with all this fighting, Lewis is driving away on his hard tires, meaning he is having the race that he would want to see on the harder compound tire, already having a great time. And the question is, can he keep that gap alive, as Parker finally has Jamboy shaken off, or has he 2/10 the gap between the two, but no ERS for Jamboy to work with, as he does have another look on the inside, and the Alpine allows it. Parker does not defend the attack by the Mercedes, tries to hang around the outside, tries to go for the cutback instead, but he doesn't make it stick, and I don't understand why Parker doesn't just defend it. No ERS on the Mercedes, and more than enough ERS on the Alpine, and he uses it now to try and send it into Kopp's corner. We've seen that go wrong, and so he does stick behind for now and just waits for Hanger Straight for another move for P2. But as you see, the blinking from the Mercedes driver, not a lot of energy to work with on his side, and this is all falling into the L plan from Ferrari. Lewis in a commanding lead at this point, 5 seconds almost the gap, and with these two continuing to squabble even, I'm expecting the gap to increase and increase even more. As another look on the inside by Parker, it's tricky, but he does make it stick around the outside. The Mercedes starts, or hangs it out rather, and he does defend the inside into the last corner, and this time he does stay ahead, and that falls exactly into the plan of Ferrari. And the 30.6 by Lewis is enough to gain another 7/10 on the drivers behind, as a little gap starts to form and a little train starts to form, a truly train, as you could say, for the Mercedes, who is pushed a little bit wide by Parker, who has a little look on the inside but not quite make it stick as another incident in the background that looks like a Haas that's going slowly. Wavy knife, another incident by him. No, it is George Maycock this time. But he does continue the race. He doesn't seem to have terminal damage for now. And that's good to see, as another look by Parker on the outside this time gets cut off by the Mercedes. Probably pretty fair, but a little bit of contact, and Parker makes use of that and has a look on the inside. And this time he is ahead, and this time he can take Kopp's corner like it's his. But now the DRS will be from the Mercedes next time around on the hangar straight as they go into Mackes and Beckes, as the Mercedes behind goes a bit wide. Harry gets a penalty for that, and the race just keeps on giving. 6 laps we are in of the 26, and I'm already losing my voice as a big mistake by the Mercedes driver, and Wimpy Nick hits him in the back, and hopefully he doesn't have damage. Both Mercedes drivers now on the inside. Can they make it stick? The outside rather, as the Williams looks on the inside of the Red Bull, and a big fight here for P3, P2. And Parker seems to finally use this time to get away. Mercedes sends it on the inside. Harry has gained a lot of positions from this little squabble. Jamboy finds a good move on the Williams and now finds himself down into P5 from P2. Not what he wanted to see. And Harry now 1 second down on Parker. Parker definitely has the pace here, even though it is on hard tires. It seems like maybe at this point they will activate. And the question is, can he keep the tires alive? As a big fight here for P2 is all that we want to see. A good fight with minimal contact and maximum respect. But Parker does seem to find a tiny gap now to the little group behind. And that fight had a lot of carnage. I couldn't quite see who hit who and who touched who where, but surely everyone's point of view will be recorded and they will know who did what, when, where, if something uncalled for happened. As we go back to Kopp's corner, where last time Harry went wide and got his penalty. He will be out of commission of this fight if no penalties are incurred later on. Jamboy going wide this time around, as an Alfa Romeo is off into the third corner, and he drives further and further off. He might retire from the race, and it is Sour Bub retires. Again, manually, I think, and I'm still pretty sure you're not allowed to do this. So that will definitely be investigated after the race. Jamboy receives a penalty for track limits as he sends it on the inside. Harry tries to look on the inside of the Red Bull and instead gets left to dry, but he tries to hang it around the outside, but there's not enough space. He drifts, he Tokyo drifts it around the final corner. Harry, that was wicked move by him on the Williams, and now 4 wide into turn 2, but they all keep it respectful. A little bit of a send, a little bit of a look by Jamboy, but enough space given by the Williams, but no ERS for him to work with, as now Harry finds himself with a tiny gap to Wimpy Nick, who's trying to defend for his life, to Jamboy, who also got a penalty. Both Mercedes drivers needs to find a lot of pace here to find a little bit of a gap to, you know, have the space for that penalty, otherwise they will lose a few positions, as the Williams beautifully hangs it around the outside. That becomes the inside, and now can he have the exit that he wants to get ahead here just before Kopp's corner? It seems like the Mercedes really tries to stay on the inside here of Kopp's corner. Mercedes on the inside of Kopp's corner never goes well, and there is contact and both go wide, but it is a clean-ish move by the Williams. He does stay ahead as Connor has joined. He probably disconnected quickly, but hopefully he can take his car back from the AI that is controlling at the moment, as both Mercedes still fighting. These two have not lost any love between the two of them, and they're 3 wide here at the end of Hangar Straight. That will not go well, though. The Williams backs out cleanly, gives the space to the both Mercedes drivers. Will they go side by side again? A big send by Jamboy, and Harry now is on the back foot to try and find back some time to P3, as Burgertown now also ahead of the Williams, who made a little bit of a mistake, it seemed, into the last corner, as a little bit of a mistake is happened behind by the Game Master. It seems that he has made a big mistake. He spat in the final corner, trying to get in power a little bit too early maybe, and at the moment it seems that Lewis is just driving away with this race. Someone that not many named as a favorite for winning this race, but at the moment he's doing everything that he needs to do, cleanly sending his 30-31 lap times and still driving away, as the two Mercedes are still fighting. They are not letting go. They're not relenting. And now on the inside is Jamboy on Harry. They will not give each other more than an inch. And that is all they need. They are keeping it somewhat clean. Hopefully no big contact between the two. That will leave Toto Wolff to smash another headset. As both go wide again through cops, they need to learn to lift, because that will give them penalty after penalty as through Meckets and Beckett's they go. And this time around it will be Jamboy with the DRS, and Burgertown has got back up after a little bit of a squabble by the two, and the Williams is also still back in the fight. No ERS to work with for both drivers on the grass. Harry, what a beautiful move, but it's ballsy. Jamboy, and he's round Jamboy. What a beautiful move by him, but he was touched on the grass and then he had no grip into the turn. What is going on? A huge contact there, not the contact he wanted to see. Now he's down in P7 and definitely will have a word with whoever he had contact with. It might have been his own fault, maybe on the grass. It's not the best idea when he's trying to overtake someone, and going 3 wide into that corner can only go well so many times. Parker now a 5-second gap away from this fight. He was in the middle of this, remember, just 3-4 laps ago, and he has now got a 5-second gap to this group. And even though it is no longer for P2 or P1, it is an excellent fight to watch for us as the viewer. Meanwhile, in front, it is still 31-2s thrown out by Lewis, who is driving an excellent race, it has to be said. Beautiful to see this consistency by the young Welshman who has his debut today for Ferrari. Parker doing a great last the first challenge almost, let's say. After a mediocre qualifying, he is back to where he belongs on the middle step this time of the podium so far, driving solid 32s, 31s as well. As we are back on board with Harry behind the Red Bull this time. His teammate all the way down to P7 now, probably with a little bit of damage, or at least tires that are completely smoked, as he finds a move in the inside. No one tries to defend, but everyone fights so hard the corner after. It's interesting to see, will the Red Bull try to lunge on the inside, and he will have a look, and he will outbrake, and will there be contact? There is contact, but Harry can keep it facing the right way for now, and it's just crazy to see so many moves undefended, and then the other person doesn't defend either, so the move goes back to them, as it looks like the Williams is having a look into turn 3, but decides against it for now, as an Aston Martin is off. That is Durgo's Fab, I think, and not having a great race for him as he gets overtaken by NASCAR fan YT. Is that YT? Wait, YT is in here? I just noticed. Oh. Anyway, NASCAR fan takes P12. Hopefully can find some points, as Jamboy all the way down to P10. Not sure what happened, as the Game Master gets disqualified for driving the wrong way. Not what you want to see in a league race. That is more of a thing we want to see in open lobbies, not in a league race, definitely not in something like tier 2, as we go through Cops Corner again, and the 3 people still fighting hard for this final spot on the podium. 11 laps finished now. The medium tires will definitely start feeling a little bit worse now. In front, it's still Lewis with a commanding lead on Parker, who has extended his gap on Harry with a penalty, who is now into P5, I think. As a Williams, a Wimpy Nick takes P3, at least on paper, from Burgertown, who will probably lunge back at him here into the next to final corner, and it doesn't seem like we get the camera we want for that view, but it is Wimpy Nick into P4. A beautiful move by him. And in front, it is still Lewis driving 31-0 still. Very, very cool. Hope for him that there's no safety car, and there is one as I say it. Is that someone that crashed out, or did he retire manually? I swear to God, if people are retiring manually, that is so unfair. And if that is something that people are doing this race, I think I've seen 2 people do it. There needs to be a talk, because it will cause a safety car, and that will fuck over people, and I think that it's just not right. I think it's not right. But who knows, maybe Wavy Knife just had a big moment into the final sector and crashed out. It can happen, obviously. I'm not judging anyone. But this fucks Lewis, who has had a perfect race so far, and now lap 12 on his hard tires. Stuck now with the decision, can you go mediums for 15 laps? I think you have to. And he will do. But now he's on the back foot. He definitely lost most out of this. Yeah, commentator's curse for sure. If that was a manual DNF like it was for Bub and Subby, I feel like the stewards need to punish this hard. Because there's no way that this should be allowed. Retiring manually, I feel. But I didn't see it, so I shouldn't judge. As in goes Lewis, he gets out on his new mediums. Parker will do the same on his new mediums. He too getting slightly shafted by this. Wimpy Nick now in the best spot to win this race, especially with Harry getting another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And apparently respecting no one. Cool. Alright. So, let's see. This is the current standings. And right now everyone coming in for some new sets of tires. And at the moment... Oh, Wimpy Nick is on mediums as well. So Burgertown in the best position, but on hards, with Harry having 8 seconds worth of penalties, I believe. Yeah. George Maycock gets another penalty. In the points, but now with the penalties, definitely not in the points. Harry Nick now technically in last place after all penalties are applied. We're not even halfway through the race and I'm losing my voice. A lot of fighting for P3. It's been a great fight and now the fight will recommence, but now for P1. And yeah, a safety car in exactly the right moment for some. For Harry and Burgertown this was perfect. And for some this was the worst timing for a safety car. Namely Lewis and Parker, who had significant gaps to the people behind. And had decent pace. I think Lewis had the best pace on the hard tires. He was driving away from everyone. And I think it should be noted. Whatever happens from now on, I think Parker and Lewis showed to be on a level different from the rest today so far. But we've seen some unlucky drivers as well. I think that Shanghai definitely had an unlucky start of the race as Jamboy gets a penalty under safety car. How do you get another penalty under the safety car? Flabbergasted by some of these. But as I was saying, Shanghai definitely a great driver. He drove yesterday, did a great job. Got a bit unlucky on the start today. I didn't see what happened, but he did have some contact and had to start basically from last place and now back into 7th place with a penalty. That has to be said, but has all the potential now to show his real pace. And yeah, Maycock stayed out on his old mediums. I think that's the wrong call unless he doesn't expect to get any points today, and then he can just go for a set of softs near the end. Connor, haven't seen him at all today. Maybe my mistake. I think I haven't mentioned him once, but he is in the points and without penalties, so he is at least theoretically in P5, P6. So he'll take that if he can keep it clean until then. Let's go on board and see what the fuel status is for most drivers. Plus 0.7. Plus. I think that Zandvoort has had a big impact as the Game Master disconnects, but he was already gone. Plus 0.6. I think that Zandvoort has had a good impact on people's fuel management. I think that everyone has been kind of tormented by the nightmares of what happened of what happened back in Zandvoort, where fuel usage is a big issue. And so everyone has taken more than enough this time around. As we do have the safety car in this lap, as Lewis now has all control, waits for the safety car to come in. I think yesterday we saw someone go pretty early just before the chicane. Those were the two hard runners, no, two medium runners then, with the soft runners behind, as Lewis goes even earlier, and it has caught Parker sleeping maybe a little bit. Harry definitely not in time to react, as it does seem like Lewis has found the perfect opportunity. A beautiful restart by him. 6/10 already away from Parker, and Parker has Harry already on 6/10 as well. As Burgertown Nick definitely was asleep during that restart. 1.2 seconds the gap already, and that does recommence the fight for P2, P1, and then a separate fight for the place behind as Shanghai. A big send into turn 3 onto Hades, and he does make it stick rather, and a beautiful restart by the race leader, although Parker using a little bit of ERS to get close to him, as he does cut that corner. He cannot do that too many times he will get a penalty, but definitely pushing to try and stay within the DRS, as there is another virtual safety car. Connor, RS, and Durgos getting a penalty each after severe contact, and I saw a wing gone by one of the drivers. I think that's the AlphaTauri of Connor. Yeah, no more front wing for him. As I mentioned that I haven't seen him, and he's had a stable under the radar race. He gets a penalty, loses his front wing, and causes this virtual safety car. Commentator's curse part 2. As part of the front wing by Jamboy is also gone, he gets another penalty as well. Crazy to see. He had such a good race at the start, now gets 3 penalties in a row. Now he's just out of contention, because I think that is 9 seconds of penalties now. Yeah, 9 seconds of penalties. Connor got 10 seconds immediately. He had no penalty at all, and now 10 seconds for him. Excuse me. There goes Swap with 8 seconds penalties. A lot of penalties given to these drivers in the background. That will determine their race. Jamboy won't be happy. Fighting for P2 earlier, now 9 seconds of penalties and down to P11. Having to fix his front wing and go to hards, as we're back to racing speed. And it seems like Parker had his delta under control, the best out of the rest. 2/10 the gap. Will he try ascend here? And he will have a look. And will Lewis go defensive? It doesn't seem like he feels the need to, but he goes a little bit wide, and now around the outside goes the Alpine. Can he stick it around all the way? And he does. Beautiful move by the Alpine driver of Parker, who I had tipped to be one of the favorites to win today. And now, after a great start and up 10 or 11 positions. 11 positions, yeah. Must be very happy with how this race has gone so far. Obviously, we're not near the end at any, in any case, with 11 laps to go. But Lewis will not give this up so early. 3/10 the gap. Used a little bit of ERS to stick within the DRS range, because they will open, I think, next lap. A little bit more of a moment after that corner. 4:10 still the gap, with Harry sticking with, but he has 8 seconds worth of penalties. I'm hoping he doesn't do anything stupid, because we have seen the Mercedes drivers, both of them, making some dubious sends today. But that is to be expected. It is tier 2 after all. No disrespect though. They do have very decent pace, at least the top boys do. Parker, Lewis have both showed excellent pace. Shanghai has had moments of brilliance as he re-overtakes Hades as well. Harry has shown great pace, but in the race he's been a little bit aggressive. Taking a note out of Verstappen's book, out of 2018 probably. Lewis within the DRS, but also has to worry about Harry behind on the hard tires. Harry's tires will definitely be better, not the next few laps, but near the end of the stint and near the end of the race. And so we have 12 drivers left, 3 DNFs, 1 disqualification, as Harry finds a new racing line into Cops. We'll have to talk to the race designer on that. new layout has been discovered by him, as Lewis keeps it clean, keeps it within the lines, and now 2 tenths behind Parker. Will he try to fancy a move into the hanger straight? He goes, and he does find a move, and he does it cleanly. Respectful driving by both of these drivers. Now see if there's a send back into this corner. No defense this time, and also no send. And respectful driving from the two people who I think have been the best today so far. 17 laps in, and now the fastest lap of the race by Lewis, 1:29.0. As we go into turn 1, he sends it on the inside, and it is a contact. Lewis is round, and so is, and as I say, they're keeping it clean. They hit each other into turn 1. What are you guys doing? That is such a shame to see. Both of these guys had so much to lose. They drove so well, and then they hit each other into turn 1. That will be investigated after the race, as Parker lost his front wing. I'm guessing he instigated it. Sending it into turn 1 is never a good idea. I don't understand why there is that much need to send it that early. And now Parker with half front wing has to go back to recover, to try and fight for some decent points, but with no front wing and probably a penalty coming either of these guys' way, it's going to be tough to do, as the Aston Martin hangs it around the inside. Can he give the position? But he has the outside, and Alpine of Parker goes back into P7. We'll have to see that incident later in the replays, as some people will definitely use that recording. It does seem like Lewis has still all of his wing, and that will help him to fight back into the podium, especially with Harry having an 8-second penalty. He is back on the podium for now, Lewis, but has he got a defense against Shanghai, who has the DRS, but does he have the ERS to make a send? He doesn't quite go for it. That is respectful driving from the two. Hopefully no weird lunges into this corner. Will he try go for it? He doesn't seem like he wants to. And it's very interesting to see so many penalties already, and I already think that I've seen a few interesting sends from some drivers, and I'm guessing more penalties will come after the race for that. At the current moment, as it stands, Lewis has the fastest lap of the race, but he's down in P4. Theoretical P3, but his tires now definitely not in the finest spot. With that spin will not do his tires much good, temperature and wear wise, but he has a lot of ERS to work with to try and catch up with Burgertown, who has the hard tires, I believe. As on the inside goes Shanghai, and again wide goes Lewis, and he does seem to just want nothing to do with anyone. Doesn't want to defend too hard and get into more trouble with contact with any other driver, and he leaves Shanghai to go past, probably to use his DRS on the next straight to catapult him back into the fight for P2 or even P1. Harry getting another penalty. He has to be careful not to get disqualified, if that is still a thing in the game after too many penalties. Anyway, 11 seconds worth of penalties will not do him any justice. He will go down all the way to P9. So he definitely has to have some good pace as Lewis tries to send it around the outside. A beautiful move by him. Can he get it slowed down enough? A beautiful move by the Welshman. Can he define against Shanghai into the final corners? He doesn't need to, because Shanghai is a smart driver. Jamboy, both Mercedes drivers, still getting penalties after penalty. They need to have a quick look at themselves and see what they need to do to avoid getting into trouble with the law this many times. As we have a great look into turn 1, beautiful turn, but not quite where you want to be if you want to make a move. I think it's not the place, but apparently some people think differently, and that's their right. On board here with Shanghai, will he try another move here on Lewis? It doesn't seem like he wants to, and at the same time he does, because Lewis again gives him the space, gives him the respect, but it does slow them both down in the chase for Burgertown, who is still driving away. This fighting is not doing them both much help, as they are not catching into the front as much as they probably would want to. As on board we go with Shanghai around the outside of the cops. He turns in, but Lewis is there, and that is a little bit of contact, but no damage done as for now, as we go into Mackett's and Beckett's. And now into Hanger Straight we go. And can he have the run that he wanted last lap and the lap before? It does seem like he has a good run this time around. DRS open, and now on the inside he goes. Lewis doesn't defend it. Does he have the space? Does he have the speed? And now around the outside goes Lewis. He hangs it around. Beautiful move by him, but this time Shanghai says no way. And he tries to send it back, but doesn't quite make the move stick. Beautiful braking point by Lewis as he drives away. Beautiful fighting by the two drivers. Very good fight to see. No big contact, no big crashes, and just respectful driving. But they are losing some ground to Harry with the big penalty in front. They need to stay within, I think, 11 seconds. I guess they are more than enough within that realm, but it is something to keep in mind, especially with 5 or 6 more laps to go. Shanghai again. Here goes his so manyth attempt with DRS open. Will he send it? Lewis again leaving the space, not knowing for sure if Shanghai will send it last second. As Shanghai again tries to hang it around the outside, or does he go for a cutback of Dreams? He doesn't quite seem to be able to do so, but then a little bit of a wiggle on acceleration by Lewis means that now again side by side through cops. It doesn't work this time, and Shanghai defends the inside beautifully, and he does go wide a bit. Does he get a penalty? It doesn't seem like he does. He already has one though. And now Lewis is demoted down into P5, but will get the DRS into the next. And now he gets a penalty. That is the last thing he wanted to see, especially with Hades now catching up to the two drivers. And that demotes him down one more spot as he does find the inside. A little bit of contact. Late move by Shanghai to defend the inside. But Lewis is passed at the end of Hangar Straight for P4. And now has to catch and then some to Burgertown to try and salvage a podium out of this. Currently, I think in P4 with Hades behind, taking P3 with Wimpy Nick at this point in time winning the race. Let's go on board with him because he is fighting with Burger Town for the lead of the race. As Harry in the lead, but with 11 seconds of penalties, that is not a fair assessment. Parker down at P11, not having the greatest race after the damage he incurred from the fight with Lewis. That will definitely be investigated after the race, as I said before. And now the fight between Burgertown and Wimpy Nick seems to be pretty stable. Both drivers seem to be content to just drive behind each other. Probably Burgertown looking for a late lunge around lap 25. As Lewis and Shanghai still fighting with Hades now looking as well. 3 wide into cops is never a good idea if 2 is already a crowd. And now on the inside is Lewis, and he does have the position, but can he keep it within the... Oh, he can, but now Shanghai tries to cut back on Cop's corner. I've never seen that before. On board with him on the outside is Hades still somewhere. He has backed out for now. Lewis keeps P4. Shanghai demoted to P5, and Hades still looking like it is a feast in front of him for P6 right now, his position. But in that sense, I guess Hades doesn't really have that much reason to send it for now. He knows both drivers have a penalty. In that sense, he is just in P3 at the current moment. As Lewis with a big moment, Lewis with a huge moment, and he is now out. Is he out fully? He spun. Oh, and that is such a shame. Down to P8 with a penalty after driving a brilliant race by him. Now all the way down at P8 after a big moment into the final corner. Now the real fight is between Hades and Shanghai, but can Hades really catch up as there's a yellow flag? That seems to be an an Alpha Tauri on the main straight, just chilling. As Jamboy gets another penalty for speeding. I'm just gonna show this one more time just to show you why I keep mentioning these penalties. 17 and 11 seconds for both Mercedes drivers. Whoever the TP is for Mercedes, y'all need to have a talk. This is unacceptable driving in Tier 2. I know this is not the most highly regarded tier, but 17 seconds worth of penalties is a disgrace. Regardless, a lot of unlucky things have happened this race, so I can't put it all on the drivers, but track limits and speeding in the pit lane is all within your control. As on board we are with the fight for provisional P1. As no one has improved on the fast lap of the race. Parker has tried. He did a 29.1, but the fast lap at the current time is a 29.069 by Lewis still. as now Lewis and Parker 25 seconds, the gap between the two. George Maycock, yeah, he is in the points, surprisingly. Didn't have the greatest pace today, but it has been enough. And the same with NASCAR fan YT, he has just kept himself out of trouble mostly, just like Vap, as Parker does take the fast lap, 1:28.9. Maybe Lewis could just box at lap 25 for the fast lap. He has 25 seconds to gap behind. I think new softs would be the best idea. There goes Vap, is his name. Just kept himself out of trouble. Quite an invisible race, but that's also because I haven't looked at him that much. And the same with YT, NASCAR fan YT, just been kind of chilling throughout the race with all the carnage around. A lot of random retirements that I still need to be explained what the heck happened there. As at the current time, not much is happening, and we are into the final 2 laps. And this is the time where I would expect Wimpy Nick to go for a move here on Burgertown. Half ERS for the Williams driver, 30-ish% for the Red Bull driver, and that means that any big move will just mean a position because the ERS will open, and we are on board with the Williams driver who will try and send it here. Not yet. He does stay behind for now, and it did scare the Red Bull driver into using a little bit of ERS, and that's all that he would want. The Williams driver just setting up the move for the hanger straight later on. It doesn't seem like Lewis wants the box. I guess with the penalty for him, that will lose him a position. So I guess that makes sense. But the fast lap was his to take. I think if you just block lap 24, 23 after his spin, he could just re-overtake Parker if he loses that position. Anyway, enough about that. This is all that it's about. This is about the race lead. Jamboy takes fast lap 1:28.0 as the Williams looks for the inside for the lead of the Grand Prix. And he does take the position this time. And now into the final lap we go. Harry will start his final lap, but he will know that he will demote a bunch of positions after his collection of vast collection of penalties, as Burgertown instantly loses a full second. A little bit of mistake in the last corner by him, which means that we are on board with the man who will win this race if nothing weird happens at this point in time. And that is a great sight to see for him. He would want a good result for Williams, and a double points it will be for them. The only constructor with Aston to do so this week. And that will help them a lot in the constructors. On board with Shanghai, who has one more opportunity after this straight as the Aston goes wide. Probably doing that on purpose to take a cut back here. Shanghai defending the inside properly, but now both with low ERS means that Shanghai is exposed here to what will be a DRS for Shanghai, for Hades, sorry. As Hades has a look into Cops instead. Connor RS gets another penalty. That's not a surprise. He's down in last position. Jamboy retires manually into the pits. That's how you're supposed to do it if you want to manually disconnect. And now into the last straight we go with these two, but it is with a penalty for Shanghai, so honestly it doesn't really matter, as instead we will go on board with who will win the race. We will ignore Harry for now because he took the penalties and he will pay the price, because on board with Wimpy Nick we go to win the Silverstone Grand Prix, as Harry gets another penalty at the end. Harry wins, and a beautiful win by him. Burgertown takes P2. Shanghai will take P3 for now, but will lose it to Hades, who will have his first podium. No, Harry will remain at P3. Hades just loses out on his first podium as Lewis in the last lap overtakes Durgo's Fab for P7. NASCAR fan gets P6. And this definitely will be a provisional finishing lineup, because many positions will be lost. Excuse me. Will be lost with the penalties that will be served at the end of this race. I saw so many contacts illegal overtakes, etc. That will all be investigated after the race, as we are waiting for the last two drivers to come over the line, as George Maycock takes the final points for Haas, and that will conclude this Silverstone Grand Prix. What a race. What chaos. We saw red flags, safety cars, manual DNS causing safety cars, huge crashes, small crashes, tiny contacts, many penalties, and both Mercedes drivers drawing their own racing line. But at the end, I think a job well done by the Williams driver. He kept it clean all race. He had the right strategy. He reacted to the safety car very well, and it was rewarded in the end. He takes the win today. Wonderful result by him. An unfortunate result for a few. I think Parker and Lewis definitely were the most consistent driver of the day until they crashed into each other. I think Lewis still had a lot to gain after that, and then had a little bit of a moment himself that will be his personal unfortunate mishap of the day. But in that sense, a wonderful race still, and I hope everyone enjoyed this race. My name was Fridge. Next time, I guess Posted will be back again, but I hope you enjoyed my appearance instead this time around. I hope you guys had a wonderful evening, a wonderful race. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you guys tune in tomorrow for Tier 1, where a big fight will happen in Silverstone once again. So